Deadeye, and back with another video here to help you guys figure some stuff out here. So I want to show you the difference between a main city, a sub-city, and a border town. So your main city, I mean, you guys should be familiar with this since everybody has access to it. But you have absolutely everything inside of your main city as far as upgrades go. Barracks, Buddhist temple, upgrades for faction bonuses, resources, building up statistics for your army, residents, all the typical stuff. So the difference between the border town and the sub-city is this. So your sub-city is going to have more of resource and defensive options. This is it. This is all you got. All right. The list doesn't go any longer. This is the length of it. So this is what you get. You get the resource boosts, and you get some defensive upgrades, but that's it. That's all you're gonna get when it comes to your sub-city. It's not gonna go any further than that, other than the resources. So when it comes to where do you want to build your sub-city, that's a good question. You're going to want to build your sub-city very far away from your main city. And the reason I propose this is that if your main city ever ends up being under attack, you can fall back into your sub-city. How do you do this? I believe, Kingdom, domestic affairs, and then you can go to government affairs, and then you can go to relocation. And then, yes, you just choose the sub-city that you want to move into, and you'll move from your main city into your sub-city. Now, the border town is quite different. The border town has reserve barracks and barracks. This is super important because your sub-city doesn't have a barracks, which is a big deal. It's a huge deal. This is the difference. I mean, you could look at your sub-city as resources, and you could resources and defense, and you could look at your border town as an offensive city, because having that barracks is just a huge difference. The barracks reserves is nice, of course, but having the barracks itself, adding to your troop size, is a major difference when it comes to combat. And that's very especially for PvP, but even for a tough city, you're gonna want to have your barracks cranked up. It's key. As far as the Buddhist and worship altar goes, it's also very helpful. See, let's compare again. So when we go back to the sub-city, the options for the sub-city are, resource. You can crank your resources up, and defensive things like the rampart, the beacon tower, the guard general castle, I mean, your army is going to be much stronger. See how my Liu Bei team here, okay, so this is their max. If I had a barracks that was max level, they would all have an extra probably 2,000 people in their army. You know, that's a big difference. There's a huge difference. This is nearly double what I have for each of them, and for her in particular, it is double. You know, so yeah, your border towns are definitely for combat. And the other thing is that the cost of leveling some of these, the cost of leveling up a border town is pretty cheap. You know, so we got 4,000, 9,000 resources, and there's not much there to really level up. You know, even here, this would put me up to rank 4. So 4 out of 5, and it's still only, I mean, the stone is quite a bit there, 329,000. But otherwise, there's not much of a cost there. In comparison, well, I already maxed that out. So, but that troop size, man, that matters. That makes a big difference, you know. So basically, you want to have one sub-city, and you want to have it as your fallback, you know, and you want to have it as try to build your resources real high with it. That's probably the best thing I could tell you to do. Don't worry about your army or your troops, and I would suggest putting just defensive troops there, people who are for garrisoning, you know, people who are used for garrison. I would suggest just having 3 teams of garrison there. Otherwise, I mean, I use it as a training center as well, because I have a level 5 land pretty close by to it. So anytime I get a new character, a new 5-star, like this guy, I didn't have him until today. So now that I got him, I'll be sending him there to train until he breaks level 20. And then I'll be able to at least use him a bit and probably level him up quite a bit faster just by drilling. Or sorry, not drilling, raid. So yeah, those are the differences between your sub-city and your border town. So again, your border town is definitely more for the offense, more for attacking. As you can see, you can have up to 5 units here. With the other one, with the sub-city, you can only have 3 units. And then you don't have the troop bonus on the sub-city. That barracks is just, that's the key. That's the key. The border town is really the main purpose of the border town is to be offensive and to build relatively close to front lines when it comes to fighting. But you cannot fall back into a border town, and it doesn't increase your resources. So I do suggest having one other sub-city just to crank your resources up and your resource cap. Eventually 3. Once you grow powerful enough, you can have 3. You can have 2 sub-cities, your main, and then everything else really. I wouldn't dump too much into your sub-cities, except for the resources. You know, or unless you're being attacked. I mean, I'm in a place where, you know, we're relatively safe, so there's almost 0 chance of my sub-city getting attacked. So, you know, there's really no reason for me to try and build the defensive parts of my, you know, of my sub-city. So, but yeah, try to when you're building your sub-city, just build it for the resources. Don't worry about, you know, sticking troops there for combat, because they're not going to be as strong and you're not going to have as many. But your sub-city is used as a fallback for your main city. So in case your main city ever gets ransacked, you can use your sub-city as a fallback. And that's the main purpose, other than the resources, of course, which is so very important. And then again, the border town is just strictly offense. But you're going to, like I said, you're going to want to build those relatively close to combat zones, PvP areas, or even a very distant place that you're trying to take, maybe a worship altar, or maybe a high-level city, something that's just very far away, and you're not happy with a fortress, because with a fortress you can only drill, or I'm sorry, not drill, you can only draft one at a time. At least with your border town, you can draft up to 3. You can have up to 3, and then you have the reserves as well. So you don't get that with the fortress. So that's what makes the border town so important. Also, why the border town is more expensive than the sub-city when it comes to construction points. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for checking out my video. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever. Let me know if you guys want me to do anything else.